StrayAllDay.com.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of you, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put this together into a series, frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is Be Right or Die Trying. This is a formula for failure. And we are going to lay this out because, and I'll tell you why we'll lay it out, but let me first of all give you some housekeeping notes before I even get into why this is the topic. First of all, send out a daily motivation text message every single day, free of charge, to everyone who is in my text community. You'll like to receive this message. It is guaranteed. Yes, guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point throughout your day. All you had to do is send me a message at the following number, 305-384-6894. And when I send that text out every single day, since you're in my text community, you will be a recipient of that message. Now, with that said, let's talk about why this topic is this topic. Because even though this show is about personal and professional development, sometimes I got to make sure that I'm reminding you of what's on the other side. That if you go rogue and you go in the opposite direction of what is going to help you develop personally and professionally, there are some pitfalls, some things that will cause you to fail. And we got to talk about these things, because if you are not aware of the things that could cause you to fail, then you may be doing them and not even realize it. So this is one of them. This formula is called Be Right or Die Trying. This is all about you trying to prove yourself right rather than actually doing what is going to produce results. I talked in episode 2167. If you have not listened to that episode, it was about, how long ago was that? 2167. I can't even give an estimate and count. Let's see. About 70 days ago. So what would it be? About 10 weeks, 2.5, 3 months ago. Episode 2167, being right versus being accurate. What does that mean? That is when you are trying to prove your opinion correct or your belief correct rather than doing what actually produces results. Remember that accurate formulas and accurate thinking is all about what is going to produce the result, not about what proves you right or serves your ego. Be right or die trying, this formula for failure we're talking about here today, is about you trying to serve your ego rather than serving results. And sometimes you can serve your ego and get a result, but many times you're going to have to choose between the two. And the question really is, which one will you pick when you get to that moment of truth? I can't answer that for you. And it's a rhetorical question when I ask you, but it's not a rhetorical question when you ask you. So this is about people from all walks of life and in all areas of life, oftentimes not understanding that we are in a results-based business. Many of you sometimes forget that you are in a results-based business. You are not in, let me tell you what business you're not in. You are not in a proving your point-based business. Everyone understand the difference between those two? And again, listen to episode 2167 if you have not already. There's a difference between getting a result and proving your point. Sometimes they work together. Many times they do not. This is about making sure you are setting yourself up. You are not setting yourself up, rather, for what we call the Pyrrhic victory. You know what a Pyrrhic victory is? It's a victory that ends up costing you more in the long run than you gain in the short term. And what many people gain in the short term when they prove themselves right is an ego boost. But what you cost yourself in the long run is actual results and outcomes and the success that you want. And you end up in the wrong spot. You might prove yourself right today, but you're wrong next week. Remember what the goal is. Let's get into the point so you understand this. The topic again today is Be Right or Die Trying, a formula for failure. Outcome first, your idea second. This is point number one. In the hierarchy of what matters most, the number one thing in the hierarchy is what produces the desired outcome. Second in the hierarchy is your idea, your belief, and your solution. In that order. If you get this order wrong, I'm not responsible for the results. All right, contact a doctor or physician before starting any success program. If you don't follow this, I'm not responsible. I am absolved of all. You sign a waiver by listening to the show. What this means is you must identify what produces the outcome you want first, then find or create the solution that leads to that outcome. What produces the outcome? That is the number one thing in the hierarchy. That's it. What many people do wrong here is you come up with your own idea, whatever you think may be the solution based on your opinion. Then you try to find a way to make that solution or that idea produce the outcome that you want. This is an inaccurate formula. I told you in episode 2163, the worst inaccurate formulas that people operate by. If you didn't listen to that episode, go listen to it, because many of you are guilty of it already. You just don't even know it. You don't even know it. When I first, to give you an example, when I first got into entrepreneurship, at least in the space of creating my own products and services, I was selling stuff on eBay back in like 2001. But I mean, creating my own stuff and then selling it from soup to nuts, zero, from a brand new idea to actually having a product and turning it into money, was this product that I call Hoop Handbook, which I still sell to this very day. It was for training programs for basketball players. The reason that that program worked is not because I'm some genius, even though I think I'm pretty intelligent. The reason that it worked is because the audience was asking for it. The way that it happened was I put a bunch of basketball training videos on the internet, specifically through YouTube. I got a bunch of basketball players following my material. Those players saw all the material I was putting out. They saw that I knew what I was doing. I knew how to play, and I knew how to teach players how to practice. And eventually players started asking me, well, Dre, can you come up with some organized process for other players to practice the same way that you practice? Because clearly you know what you're doing, but you have so much material on YouTube that we can't make sense of it. We don't know where to begin because you got so much. It was actually a compliment, but a challenge at the same time. So I said, okay, I will. So what I did was I started organizing the drills and the workouts that I would do. I put them into programs that I put into a PDF document, and I started selling them for $4.99. And immediately that product took off. The reason why the product took off, again, is not because I'm some genius. The product took off because I only created the program because the product because I was responding to what the audience wanted. In other words, the audience made clear what the outcome was that they wanted, and I went and provided a solution based on the outcome that I was asked for. I did not come up with an idea / a solution / a product and then say, okay, somebody needs to want this product because I created it. You see the difference between the two? This is the inaccurate formula that many entrepreneurs operate by. They come up with a solution based on their own ideas, and then they try to get the rest of the world to want that idea. That's the wrong formula. The better formula is see what the world wants and then go create a solution that solves that exact problem. So now you already know there's a built-in audience for your thing. This is the way that you do it the accurate way. Not the right way, but the accurate way. So today, I do many things well, or at least I think I do. Haha. But what I do offer is what people want from me. I don't give people what I want to give them. I give them what they want. Now, I give them I will do what I want to do, but in the context of giving people what they want. Let's put it that way. So, okay, people want to be able to ask me questions. Fine. Well, you'll do it within the context of the way that I set it up, but I'm still giving people what they want, just my version of it. But you got to understand, people have to want something, and they have to want it. Ideally, you want them to want it specifically from you. The good thing about the internet, there are some positives and there are some challenges with the internet. One of the positives of the internet is that you can establish yourself as someone to be listened to and someone to be sought out before you even invest in creating a solution, because you can put material out there like what I'm doing right here. You're not paying money to listen to this. I can put this out. I can establish myself as someone who knows his stuff on subjects X, Y, Z, whatever you think I know my stuff on. And then you can say to me, well, Dre, how can I go deeper? How can I get more? And I can offer you a solution that you want specifically from me. So there's literally no risk in me creating whatever it is that I create. So there's no sunk cost possibility because you're already asking me for it. I could even charge you for it before I create it. If you are a salesperson, and all of us are salespeople on some level, you first figure out who you want to help, then figure out what problem they want you to help them solve. Then you go create something to solve that problem that they know they have and that they want a solution for. Ideally, they want the solution from you. And again, using the internet, you can set this up. You can have all of this in place before you create anything. This is the accurate order of operations that will produce a result. Now, is there another way that you could do this that might produce a result and it might not? Yes. But this is the one that's sure to produce a result, like I just showed you with my own example. Many people incorrectly, as I already said, they come up with something, then they hope that they can find people who want it, which leads to point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is be right or die trying, which is a formula for failure. Number 2, here's a thing that you need to do. And I've said this before. I will say it again. I'm going to say it here today. Put your ego away. Put your ego Put your ego in storage. All right, don't throw it away. Just put it in storage, at least when it comes to this point. I told you in episode 271, leaders cannot have fragile egos. It means a leader needs to know when to step away, and a leader also needs to know when to engage their ego, but also when to put it aside and get it the hell out of the way, because it's getting in the way of the business. It's getting in the way of the success. Episode 1353, we talked about prioritizing success over ego. Episode 1523, check your ego at the door. All right, you need to know when to use your ego and when not to use your ego. And for every episode I tell you about controlling your ego, I got another episode, a counter episode, where I'm telling you that you need to engage your ego. And some people may say, well, Dre, which one is it? You got 5 episodes talking about put your ego away, 5 episodes telling you that you need to use your ego. Dre, which one is it? The answer is both. And you need to be wise enough and mature enough to understand when to use each. And as a matter of fact, you actually don't need to be wise enough and mature enough to understand this. You need to be wise enough and mature enough to know that since you can't always figure it out, you need another set of eyes, another brain working on your behalf who can help you with this stuff, which is why I have masterminds, which is why I offer coaching, so that you don't need to figure it out on your own, so that you can stop making mistakes that are costing you your most valuable resource, which is what? Time. See, every time you make a mistake because you had the wrong strategy, or because you applied an inaccurate formula, or because you didn't even have a formula, you were randomly doing stuff, you end up costing yourself your most valuable resource, which is not money, which is not energy, it is time. And every time you lose time, you're losing a little bit of your life, because you ain't getting that minute back. Did I say anything that's inaccurate? One reason some people become successful is because they are stubborn and hard-headed. No matter what obstacles are in front of them, they just plow through them, or they will keep trying to plow through them. They have a point to prove, and they will pay any cost, time, money, attention, energy, focus, in order to prove that point. And understand, this is fine. This is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a strength of many people, including myself. Here's the challenge with people who are that way. And I know I'm talking to a lot of people right now who are listening to me. The challenge is you may not know when to turn that on and when to turn it off. See, the challenge with people who are stubborn and hard-headed, who will pay any price to prove any point, is that there comes a time when you need to turn that off, and you need to be a little bit more strategic, and you need to humble yourself. You need to turn your ego. You need to turn down the volume on your ego. And the challenge for people who achieve success with the stubborn and hard-headed approach is that you don't know when to stop being stubborn and hard-headed, and eventually you run into a brick wall that you can't plow through. And what you end up with is a concussion and a lump on the top of your head. There's a level of maturity that unfortunately many people never reach, because again, they don't understand what I just explained. Your stubbornness gets you started, but you never learn when to turn it off, put your ego to the side, and defer to truth, reality, and the facts that are staring you in the face. In other words, you never learn when to use accurate formulas. You just use, I'm just going to dominate and just use my mind and use my mental toughness and be confident and just push through everything. And it's worked so far, so why wouldn't it work the next time? All right, and it keeps working until it doesn't. And that's when you get stuck. That's when you find yourself not knowing what to do. And then, because that's the only formula, that's the only approach that you've ever known how to use, now you don't know what other approach to use. You don't want to use any other approach, because you've conditioned yourself over 35 years to just do things one way. You're not interested in doing things another way. This is what happens to people. This is how people get to 40, 50, 60 years old, and they don't want to do anything different than what they've already been doing, even though what they've already been doing clearly is not working anymore. Who am I speaking to right now? Whose language am I speaking right now? Whose internal conversation have I entered with what I just said over the last 2 minutes? I know I'm talking to a bunch of people right now. I know. I get the emails. I get the text messages. I know who I'm talking to. For all you professionals, meaning you are doing something to make money as your main paid occupation, the process for business is to first identify a problem, then identify a solution, in that order. Do not come up with something and then hope that people want your solution. That's a formula for losing. And every time that it works, you're only setting yourself up for a bigger fall when it doesn't work, because eventually it's not going to work. But when your ego's out in front, you'll do things your way anyway, and eventually you're going to run into that concrete wall that you can't knock down. Let's move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is be right or die trying, which is a formula for failure. Number 3, Zig Ziglar said, when you give people what they want, you will have everything that you want. I want you to note the order of operations in this statement, famous statement. Give people what they want, and then you get everything you want. Notice he didn't say you get everything you want and then give people what they want. Be, do, have, folks. Note the order of operations in the statement. Your first focus is on the people that you serve, not on your selfish desires and on serving your ego with your own ideas. Your first focus is on the people who you serve. Yes, that is your first focus. Why is this? I want you to think of one time in your life when you earned $1 without serving another person. Somebody send me a text message and tell me one time ever in your life when you earned even $1 without helping another person to get that dollar. Unless you are some kind of criminal where you are literally stealing from other people, there's no way you can earn an honest dollar without helping another person. It's impossible. That's why none of you could tell me a time you earned $1 without helping another person. You can't. Every dollar you have ever earned, and that's why I said this for the professionals, every dollar you've ever earned, you had to serve another person and help them in some way, shape, or form in which they felt helped in order for you to get that dollar. There's no other way you can get it. Honestly, there's no other honest way you can make $1 without doing that. Many otherwise talented people fail in life and in their careers because they are more focused on what they want than they are on what their intended audience wants. I'll give you another example. If you were to ask me, I would never, let's say me and my speaking career. I do speaking gigs and the speaking business is part of what I do. If you were to ask me, Dre, are you a motivational speaker? I would say no. If I meet somebody in the elevator and they say, what do you do? I say, well, I do speaking gigs. If I was to give that as an answer, they say, what do you talk about? I say, I'll talk about discipline, confidence, mental toughness, growing in your space, professional development, personal development. Somebody might say, oh, well, you're like a motivational speaker. I would never label myself as a motivational speaker, at least not just in conversation. I wouldn't, but I would in order to play the game. I would. When I do speaking gigs, guess what I sell? For the most part, you know what I sell when I do a speaking gig? If I'm reaching out to somebody and trying to sell myself as a speaker, you know what I'm gonna tell them? Hey, my name is Dre Baldwin. I'm a motivational speaker. Why would I do that? Now, I might not say it in those exact words, but why would I now put on the label of motivational speaker, even though if you and I are talking over lunch, would I call myself a motivational speaker? No. But if I'm trying to sell myself to a decision maker who's booking a speaker, I will call myself a motivational speaker. You know why I would do that? Anybody know why? You've been listening to this episode, you should have an idea. I mean, the point of the show is for me to challenge you to think, not to think for you. But here's the reason why I would label myself a motivational speaker. Because the people who hire speakers, the people who write those checks, you know who they hire? Motivational speakers. They hire motivational speakers. They are looking for people who are motivational speakers that they can hire for their event. Now, I'm not in the business of changing their mind and saying, well, let's not call them motivational speakers. Let's call them people who help people with the game and people who help people learn how to play the game and they do professional and personal development. Listen, I'm not in the business of changing people's minds. Never have been, never will be. I am not in the business of changing your mind. You're listening to this right now. If you disagree with me, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm going to tell you what I know. You can either start accepting it or you cannot. I am not in the business of changing people's minds. So when I know that you are looking to hire a motivational speaker and you have power over the company credit card account and you can write that check for the amount that I'm going to charge, hey, yes, I am a motivational speaker. What do you need? When's your event? I'm going to give them work on your game and the third day. Are they necessarily motivational speeches? I wouldn't call them that. But guess what? If calling work on your game in the third day, hey, this is my motivational speech. It's called work on your game. That's going to get the check written. I'm going to get the check. Why? Because I'm in the business of getting the check. I'm not in the business of proving that the third day is not a motivational speech. See, this is what you got to understand. Accurate formulas, folks. What business are you in? Are you in the business of proving yourself right, or are you in the business of achieving an outcome? If you're in the business of achieving an outcome, here's the next question. What's the outcome? If you don't know, neither do I. So, I mean, anything you do might end up working. You need to know what business you're in, so then you know what decisions to make. Now, do I call work on your game or the third day motivational speeches or motivational books? I personally don't, but if you call it that and you're about to buy 10,000 books from me, okay, then hey, let me tell you where to send the check. Let me tell you what account you need to send that wire to. Let's get this done. If I tried to sell them as the way I would word it, I would probably make fewer sales. So I got to learn how to play the game. You got to learn how to play the game as it is. Like I talked about in yesterday's episode, you're not selling out, you're buying in. Don't play the game the way you want it to be. Play the game the way that the game is being played, because this is what's going to get you the outcome. Again, here's the question that you have to ask yourself every single day, every decision that you make. What is going to get me to the outcome that I want? this choice or this choice. That's how you make your decisions. It is not about your ego. It is not about your opinion. It's not about what somebody on Facebook said. It's about what's going to get you the outcome. Unless the person on Facebook asks you the same thing I'm asking you, which is what is going to get you the outcome. You got to learn when to turn your ego off. Let's recap today's class, which is being right or die trying. This is a formula for failure. This is about people from all walks of life not understanding that we are in a results-based business, not a proving your point-based business, and you had to make a decision every day which one you are actually in, keeping in mind what your actual goal is, if there is an actual goal. Point number one, outcome first, your idea or solution comes second. What this means is identify what produces the outcome, then you find a solution that will help you serve that outcome. The reason that I was able to sell my products when I first came out, my first ever self-created product, and it took off immediately, is because the audience asked me specifically for that product and they wanted it specifically for me. So I already had a perfect market match and they wanted it specifically for me. So there was damn near a guarantee that the product was going to work, and it immediately did. And this is just a $4.99 PDF with basketball drills on it. So you got to know what your audience wants and know that they want it from you, and you damn near guarantee that you're going to get success. Now, how do you do that in the world that we're in today? Easy way to do it is get on the internet, start putting your material out, putting your voice and your name and your image and your likeness and your material and your thoughts out there. People will want not only the solution, but they want it specifically from you. So when you offer it, you already going to have a built-in audience. You can even get them to pay you before you even create the product. So you know that you're in a position where you couldn't possibly lose. Point number two, put your ego away. One reason some people become successful is because they are stubborn and hard-headed. They have a point to prove. They will pay any cost in order to prove that point. This is fine. It's a strength in many people. The challenge is not knowing when to turn that off. Many people reach success through stubbornness and hard-headedness, but then they don't know when to stop being stubborn and hard-headed because they haven't reached the level of maturity of knowing when to turn that thing off. So the thing that gets you to success might not be the same thing that gets you to the next level of success. So you had to be mature enough to understand, okay, this got me this far, but it's not going to get me to the next level that I want to get to. What adjustments am I going to have to make to get to the next step that I want to get to? Myself, for example, as a pro athlete, I used to sleep like 5 hours a night, then sleep like 2-3 hours during the day. Now I eat a ridiculous amount of table sugar, processed sugar, like candy and stuff like that. And because I was younger, I had a younger system, a faster metabolism, I could get away with it. Nowadays, at 40 years old that I am today, I sleep 8 hours a night, full night. I do not take naps during the day, and I still eat candy, but not nearly as much as I used to back in the day. I'm much more cognizant of what I'm putting in my body and what I'm doing with my body, because my body is not going to bounce back from bad decisions as easily at 40 as it would at 25. You have to know how to make adjustments along the way. And this comes with maturity. This comes with you understanding things. It comes with you understanding strategy. And sometimes you won't get this just from living life and it's just going to randomly hit you upside the head. You have to get the information and the insights from people who can see things that you can't see. But if your ego is out in the front, you're going to keep doing things the way that you've always done them until they don't work anymore. And then you're going to wonder what the problem is. The problem is you. Point number three, Zig Ziglar said, give people what they want. You can get everything that you want. Note the order of what he said. It was on purpose. Your first focus is on the people that you serve, because you have never made a dollar in your life, honestly, without serving another person. So, for example, if you ask me, would I label myself a motivational speaker in random conversation? I would not call myself that. But when I get on the phone with someone who's looking for a motivational speaker because they saw my TED Talk and they want to book me and they got my fee, then yes, I absolutely am a motivational speaker. Miss, when is your event? And let's see how we can make this happen. So what are they going to get when I give that speech? They're going to get work on your game in the third day. Same thing I would give to anybody else. But if they want to label it a motivational speech, guess what? It's a motivational speech. Why? Because what game am I in? I'm in the game of booking the business. I'm not in the game of proving myself right. You need to know what game you are in. Learn when to turn your ego off. Trying to be right is a formula for dying trying. Like I said, all that said, text me to get my daily motivation every day free of charge. My number is 305-384-6894. And when you are ready to start working with accurate formulas, you're ready to get clear on what exactly your outcome is and make strategic decisions based on the outcome, not based on your ego, which many of you need help with, I know. Then what you need to do is stop playing around, stop serving your ego, and go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Join my Bulletproof Mastermind, which is my group program for all you professionals and entrepreneurs who are getting your footing, getting started, and you want to create traction for yourself. Or my 3rd-day mastermind for you high-level professionals who are already at that level. You want to make sure that you stay where you're supposed to be at. You want to make sure you get all areas of your life on the same level as your professional career has been. You can sign up for a one-on-one call with me there, or you can join my group program there. Both links are at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.